please feel free to fire away.
Mike, I guess the last time we would have talked to you was spring meetings. So just what's been your thoughts of the summer, what you guys have gotten done, and just where you guys are as a team?
We're in a good spot. You know, we're excited for this weekend to roll around. I think Sunday will be our first lengthened practice, and then we'll be rolling. You know, Monday we'll get back at it again, and it's on us. You know, so this is kind of our last week of tune-ups. We'll have 4 hours this week. We'll have 4 one-hour practices. We got a lot done this summer. June and July were really productive for us. We rolled the dice a little bit with a lot of competition this summer, which we started when we went to Italy a couple summers ago and kind of stuck with it. And we were able to stay pretty healthy and got a lot done offensively and defensively. Really hard-working group. Really different team than last year's team. Really different team. The makeup just from a speed and quickness and size, strengths and weaknesses. It'll be interesting, but I'm really excited for today's workout, excited for Sunday, excited for really any day we get a chance to work with these guys. They're getting after it.
Mike, whenever you bring in transfers, obviously you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to be getting, but since you've seen them on the court, you've been able to work with them a little bit, are there someone that maybe showed you something extra that you do not know that they had?
Not really. You know, for the most part, our guys that we signed out of the portal are what we thought. You know, we were optimistic in hoping that they were what they are, and they are. You know, we've got good handling, good passing, good shooting, a little bit of experience. You know, we're not overly old, but significantly older than last year's team, of course. But those guys have all had moments in practices, you know, from the summer to the fall where they've shined in different ways. We've got a lot of work to do, of course, but we've got some talented guys out of the portal. We're excited.
You talked about it being a little bit older than last year's team.
Yeah.
What are the advantages you feel like you guys can have having guys with a little bit more experience?
You know, we've got guys with some winning experience. You know, Jordan Ross, you know, top 25 team. You know, a team that went to the NCAA tournament. Justin Bailey, you know, goes to the NCAA tournament. Jeremiah Wilkinson and Smurf Millender didn't go to the NCAA tournament, but scored a lot of points and were productive against high-level teams. Cannon Catchings, you know, another NCAA tournament team, a really talented guy that can get baskets, you know, at 6'10" and can shoot it. So they're all a little bit different. We did bring in some winning experience, but also complemented by some talent, some character, and some work ethic.
Mike, we know how much you love to talk about making the NCAA tournament before the season starts. But what does this team need to do? You are projected in there, coming off a really strong season and an NCAA tournament appearance. The way this team's put together, what are some of the things you're looking for as far as building blocks and foundation?
Winning habits, just matching the culture that we had last year. Last year's group was so resilient. If you remember, a couple of the losing streaks we had, and then a couple of the winning streaks we had to overcome and to knock down that door, you know, to get back to the NCAA tournament. Just an unbelievably resilient group. Guys that just brought it every day, responded to wins, responded to losses, consistent working group that was connected at a high level as well. And so all of those winning aspects, you know, the things that go into your culture, the toughness, the attitude, the integrity, the loyalty and connection toward one another remain to be seen. We got a ways to go. We're going to hit some adversities. How are we going to respond to all those adversities? The work ethic's there. I'm convinced this group's really, really going to work. From a basketball standpoint, we'll see how this group rebounds it. You know, last year's group, we were physically imposing at times, struggled to score it at times. I think this group will score it easier. I think we'll be fun to watch. We'll play fast. We'll shoot a lot of threes. Got a lot of ball handling. It'll be the best passing team I've had in a while. I think we create some turnovers and defend at a high level, but defend differently. You know, we won't pack it in, and we won't be quite as long and big with the same positional size we had last year. But can we hold our own on the glass? Will be something we're working toward.
Kind of break down your guards. I'm sorry, break down your guards you've got coming in.
Yep.
And John, would you look at talk about Smurf a little bit, just other guys that you have there?
Yeah, Smurf, really fast, can shoot it. He's got range on his jump shot. I want to say he was 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio last year. I hadn't looked at those numbers in a while, but now that we've coached him 3 months, he's passing it well in practice. He puts pressure on the rim, with his speed and quickness, and puts pressure on the basketball defensively as well. He'll be good in press. And Jordan Ross, I want to say, was 3-to-1 assist turnover. Ball security guy, a really talented passer, lefty, but with an ability to pass it with either hand. Got pretty good positional size and strength. Jeremiah Wilkinson is about as athletic a guard as I've ever coached, from Cal, from Atlanta originally. Can really score it, and developing as a passer, can play on and off the ball. Justin Bailey, catch and shoot guy, who also defensively will bring some intensity, some toughness, winning program. An NCAA tournament player, one of the better defensive guards in that league. Who am I forgetting? Jake Wilkins, to complement Blue Kane on the wing. Those guys have had really good battles in practice. Jake's a really talented guy with great positional size and length. He makes shots. His motor's improved. He's playing really well. And Blue Kane and Dylan James, I'll just include Dylan, even though he's not a prototypical backcourt guy. But if I bring up Blue, I'd like to bring up Dylan too. Those guys have made big jumps. Those guys are winning juniors, culture guys that we're really proud of their growth and development.
I know obviously Jake has been dealing with being Dominique's son, obviously, his entire life since he's been here. Have there had been a conversation with him about that, about not trying to do
Absolutely.
being Dominique's?
Yeah, as late as mid last week.
Really?
Had another sit down with him. Wonderful young man, super high ceiling. We all love Dominique. Jake loves Dominique more than anybody, obviously, but Jake's Jake. Jake's running his own race. He is in tune with his own process, getting better every day, and not worrying about things he can't control.
What did it mean to have the NCAA tournament banner hanging in your practice gym? Was that like something that was done when you guys weren't there, or is this something that the team got to soak in?
No, it just happened one day. You walked in the gym, saw it one day. Yeah. We didn't really share the moment as a team, but as a staff, we looked up and admired it a couple times. But we're moving on. We want to hopefully hang another one here at some point.
Coach, you mentioned you really like what you saw in June and July. Even if you saw like improvement, where would you like the team to really improve from now until the start of the season?
Probably resiliency. I think most coaches in our league, most teams in our league are focusing on putting their team in tough situations and practices, to tune them up, right? To prepare them for the battles that are coming around the corner. For the first time we play an exhibition, we play someone else in the next one, and the season opener, of course, at home. We've got to see where we're at from a mental toughness standpoint, from a resiliency standpoint, again, which last year's group was elite with, in that category. And we've got to rebound it. We've got to rebound it. We've got to guard. We've got to score some points, of course, too.
Coach, you guys have changed your roster a lot this year. I know you had a handful of guys that returned from last year's team. How has that group, kind of shown what you guys are about? And just what are their kind of leadership styles that have come out over the last couple of months?
They're all a little bit different. I would start with Brandon Klatsky and Jaden Newell, Markel Jennings, bringing everyday culture guys, entrenched in everything that we do, extensions of our staff. And then you've got Blue Kane and Dylan James, who again I touched on earlier, complemented by Justin Abson and Santos Surreal. Santos made a big jump. Justin Abson's really worked hard on his conditioning in the offseason, and we need big years from those guys. Justin's a very cerebral guy, really high basketball IQ, consistent guy, probably our best passer. Santos an energy guy, a guy that is continuing to work on his consistency, but he leads in that area. Sometimes he models, intensity and competitiveness in spurts in practice. And Blue's turned into a consistent guy, and no one's been more consistent in our program since the day I stepped foot on campus than Dylan James. We call him Everyday Dill. He brings it every day. He's the same exact guy every single day with his attitude and his effort.
You mentioned Santo. What has that growth looked like going into its second year?
Conditioning's gotten a lot better. Changed his body a little bit, really worked hard on it. He's had a great fall with Colin Crane with strength and conditioning, playing harder for longer spurts, changing what we're doing offensively. Hopefully he'll benefit from it. I'm optimistic that he will. and more consistent with his emotions. You know, we talked about they can be positive at times, how hard he plays, but the responses to a tough call in practice or a mishap, the maturity level has increased with him as well.
Where are you guys injury-wise, and with Jackson McVay, where do you want him to kind of grow size and strength-wise?
Yeah, we'd like for Jackson to be, continue to gain strength and muscle and get quicker and faster like all freshmen, just like Jake and Kareem Stagg. Stagg's been out for a while with a hand. He'll be back in the very near future. And then we've got a couple other guys out with just with minor things. So we're not at full strength today, but by Sunday I anticipate being at full strength.
Coach,
One or two more questions.
Coach, just how have you adjusted to trying to, obviously the roster flips so much, like I mentioned earlier, just how do you as a coach have to adjust each year to a new group of guys and just, not putting last year's team's expectations and the way you coach them onto this group?
Yeah, it's we're all in, it's level playing field. We're all doing the same thing, throughout college basketball. It's what it is. It's a landscape. It gives you opportunities. It's exciting. You each year you look at your team and you play to your strengths and your weaknesses. And in fact, you pivot really during portal season. When you get this guy, it leads you to potentially get this guy, and before you know it, hey, let's evaluate how we could finish up portal season with these last 2 or 3 guys and complement the current roster that we have. So it literally within weeks, within days, we made some playing style decisions there at the bottom of the ninth in the portal season.
Questions from Mike?
I asked just one quick one. About making the NCAA when it comes to recruiting, how does that kind of translate as far as interest, and does people be more excited about what you're doing here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that we didn't use the NCAA tournament, breaking through, being a 9 seed, the highest seed in 20 years here at Georgia in recruiting, and it's obviously helped us. I mean, these young people that we recruit want to play at a high level. They want to play in the NCAA tournament. They want to play against other really good teams. They want to play into the postseason. They want to be professionals, and you can do all that here at the University of Georgia. I mean, it was a process. Really proud of where we are. We started at 6 wins. We had the plus 10 in year 1, which is second in the country, and then NIT Final Four, and then we get a 9 seed. So we're proud of that, but we're ready for the next step. It's about growth every day in this program.
Any texts with Danny on Saturday night?
Nope. Anything else?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.